Hello guys, what is up? My name is Dylan. Welcome to the Popcorn Podcast. This is episode number 42. We're in a bit of a roll recently with new guests, and this episode is no different. Today we have Luke on the couch.
Yeah,
Welcome to the podcast, man. So glad to be chatting with you today. Thank you so much for making the effort to come down, because Luke is not based in London. Do you want to tell the folks where you're based, essentially? Yeah.
So I'm from Wigan, like Greater Manchester area. So,
yeah,
a bit of a far drive.
Yeah, no, you could say
travel.
that. Yeah, no, we really appreciate you coming down. I mean, I know you through social media, specifically TikTok, and like, you know, the stuff that you're doing over there in terms of, you know, reviews and just film discussion and your lists and recommendations is just so you know, splendid, and really love your work, man.
Yeah.
And I've been watching you for a little while. I would say this is the first time we have actually properly had a conversation in the flesh, but I feel like we briefly somewhat had our paths almost cross, very briefly, and because we were both at the House of the Dragon premiere earlier this year, and I think what was it, like after the premiere we were like, oh my god, we were there as well. Yeah, great to be finally talking to you. What I do like to do with all the sort of new guests who come onto the podcast is to just kind of get a general sort of insight into what makes Luke tick as a film fan. So I'm going to throw you some quickfire questions. We good to go?
Yeah,
you ready?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So straight up, Luke, what's your favourite film?
Back to the Future. Always has been since like 6-7 years old. Always been my favourite film. Got a tattoo of the DeLorean.
Oh, wait, is it on your arm right now? Oh, fantastic. Oh, that's awesome, man.
Half a sleeve of that film, like stuff.
Get a load of that. Yeah, that's epic. That's so cool. Do you have plans to get any other tattoos?
Yeah, I want to get it all into a full sleeve eventually, but then I got into more different types of films. Yeah. So I'm trying to leave it till I'm ready to know.
Yeah. So many options though, right? And also, I do want to say before we continue, I'm so in love with your T-shirt. It's fantastic. Yeah, one of the best of the year for sure.
100%.
100%. What is a comfort film of yours?
Do you know what? It'd probably be Coco. I think it's like the best animation ever. No matter if I'm in like a bit of a down mood or whatever, it just like picks me up, because I think it's just all about family and just like, obviously it's just so joyful. The colours, the music, it's just like really brings you up. Yeah,
Coco's a great pick, man. Yeah. What's a guilty pleasure film of yours?
I'd probably go for it's always like kind of like Adam Sandler films. Like, they're not like highly rated, but I love them. But I really like the Grown Ups. Like, I don't know why, but for some reason I'll just put it on whenever, and I've probably seen it about 4 or 5 times this year already.
Amazing, what did you hear about? They're doing Happy Gilmore too?
Yeah. I've seen that Ben Stiller. Like, I've seen some snippets of like pictures and stuff of him getting chased down the street. So I can't wait for it. Yeah,
that should be interesting. What's a film you think is underrated?
Underrated? I don't know if it's a bit it's hard to justify it sometimes, because obviously sometimes just people start talking about films again. So I'd probably go like Blowout. By Brian De Palma.
I feel
like not a lot of people have seen it, but for me,
I haven't seen it. That's one of the Brian De Palma films I haven't seen yet. But
that's probably one of my favourites.
Cool, good stuff. And what's a film you think is underrated? Overrated. My bad.
I'd probably go Shawshank Redemption. It's like I always go for between. I'm not like either that or like Star Wars. Either both of them, I think they're a little bit overrated, but mostly Shawshank. Yeah. Just because obviously people call it the greatest film of all time. Yeah. And I wouldn't even really have it like top 250.
As a hot take. Yeah. It's like the highest rated film on IMDb, isn't it? Yeah. And Star Wars, what the first one in particular, or just all of them?
I think as a franchise, I do think Empire Strikes Back is like unbelievable. Yeah. But I think like overall, I think it's quite a weak franchise between all the films.
Gosh, we're getting the hot takes in early this one. What's your favourite film score?
Well, obviously Gladiator II is just obviously the thing about Gladiator 1. I love Hans Zimmer's score. I think it's perfect. I also really love Oppenheimer, but Gladiator is probably my favourite.
I mean, remember you said the Gladiator score, because we'll be coming back to that in a little bit. Horror or comedy?
I really like horror, but like comedy, I think it's just so easy to watch. Like, you can just watch comedies all the time for me, so I'll probably go comedy.
Comedy, okay, sure. Sci-fi or fantasy?
Sci-fi.
Okay. Blockbuster or indie?
I'd have to go indie.
Oh, okay. What's a film you wish you watched in the cinema?
Probably Back to the Future, because obviously it was such a big opening weekend. I think that's my favourite film. I would have loved to see that opening weekend. Yeah.
Quick sub question: have you seen it in a cinema?
Yeah.
You have. Okay, cool. If you were stuck on a desert island, what 4 films would you take with you?
So I'm going to be a bit cheeky, and I'm going to pick the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah.
It's
To be
coming.
fair, I would be doing that
the
as
box
well.
set's coming. And then I've got Shaun of the Dead. I think it's my favourite comedy of all time. The Shining, because I need a horror. It's my favourite horror. And then I'd probably go... what is it? Shining? Shaun of the Dead. And obviously Back to the Future. It's my favourite. Yeah.
There you go. What is your favourite film of this year, 2024, so far?
Doom Part 2, easily.
Yeah. I was about the ending of my question was, and why is it Doom Part 2? But yeah. What's the worst film you've seen in 2024 so far?
You probably haven't seen it, but it's called Mousetrap.
No, I haven't seen
and
it.
you know, you got the Winnie the Pooh horror of the universe. There's one about Mickey Mouse. It's called Mousetrap.
Oh no, I have heard about this. Yeah.
It might be not just the worst film of the year, but the worst film ever.
Oh my gosh.
It's that bad.
It's even worse than Megalopolis?
I've not seen Megalopolis
yet. Okay.
Yeah, it's out on streaming, so I'm going to watch it soon, but I missed it in the cinema because I was on holiday, and then by the time I came back, they'd already took it.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. And what is your most anticipated film of the rest of 2024?
Obviously, there's not really much left, but I know We Live in Time's out in January, but there's an early screening at like
I've seen that.
That or Lord of the Rings, the
War for a Harem. Yeah, that's cool. Man. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for playing that round of quickfire questions. I think I have a little bit of a sort of a better gauge of who Luke is, I would say. But of course, the reason Luke and I have gathered, gosh, this sounds like a wedding. The reason Luke is on the couch with me today is because we are going to be breaking down Gladiator II, which came out officially yesterday.
Yeah.
So just to kind of delve straight in there, I wanted to ask you, Luke, because you did mention Gladiator for your pick for score, but what was your first experience with Gladiator, the original film, and what are your thoughts on that first film?
Well, I can't really remember the first time I watched it. I just know I've watched it always growing up. Like every time it's on the TV, it gets put on.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it's like one of the best action films of all time. I've got it as a 5-star. I've not got many of them. That is definitely one of them. And I just think it's just a brilliant film. Like I don't think you can beat it. Just everything about it, like the directing, the cinematography, the score, like walking through the fields. Perfect film.
I would agree. I would say I watched Gladiator. I remember watching it quite young, but then I revisited it in my teens.
Yeah.
And I just completely fell in love with it. I think it is one of Ridley Scott's best films. I think top 3, Ridley films is, the sort of holy trinity of Ridley Scott films is what? So Alien, Blade Runner, and Gladiator. I would say. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. What are your thoughts on just Ridley Scott in general as a filmmaker?
Brilliant. I think obviously recently, not even recently, I weren't a massive fan of Napoleon, but I think Prometheus and Covenant are absolutely amazing. Like I know a lot of people don't like them films, but I actually I almost have I'd have Alien, then Prometheus, then Covenant, then Aliens.
Wow. Okay.
The Aliens franchise.
Gosh, the hot takes today are strong with this one.
And he is fantastic. Like I really love The Last Duel. I think that's his most underrated film. I think it's fantastic. But I've not seen all of his filmography. There's a few films I haven't seen, but I need to check out. But I think he's brilliant.
Interesting. I have a little gripe with Ridley that I think we can get into in a little bit. Yeah. But I think it's safe to say then, going into Gladiator 2, pretty excited?
Yeah, very excited. Well, I've seen a lot of people, obviously there was some early reactions calling it like the best film of the last 10, 15 years and best film of the year. So I was really excited going into it.
And have you seen it twice now, or was it just the once?
I didn't make it. I was meant to go yesterday, but I didn't have the chance to go. But I've seen it once.
Sure.
But I will go and check it out within the next week.
Interesting. Very, very, very quick story before we get into sort of Gladiator 2. So I saw this film last night, so it's very, very fresh in my mind. I saw it at the IMAX at Leicester Square in London.
Yeah.
And I went with Clara and I went with our other friend Panwa, and we were in the queue. We were waiting to get some popcorn and sort of drinks and whatnot. Yeah. And literally in the queue next to us, literally in front of us, Cailee Spaeny.
Really?
Just by herself, literally at the front of the queue, and with no entourage, nothing. And I was like, how is no one else seeing this? Literally just Cailee Spaeny, just in the cinema. Insane. And I was like, it got me a little bit, because I was like, you know what, I really respect that, because for a high profile actor to just come in and just go, opening night with the public, none of the press or anything around that, it's not an event. I think it's brilliant. Yeah, like just that was just really, really random.
Yeah.
But there you go. just a quick little. I mean, to be honest, I was really considering going up to her and just saying, like, you know, big fan. Can I get a photo, etc. But yeah, it was quite a busy screening, so I was like, you know what, if I do that, everyone's gonna start doing that. But there you go. Shout out to Cailee Spaeny.
Yeah.
So yeah, Gladiator 2. I think what we'll do is we'll kick this off as we usually do with a quick sort of plot synopsis, and we'll get talking about the film. Oh, and spoiler alert, guys, we are going to be discussing spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film, please do go check it out and come back to this video discussion at a later time. So, Gladiator 2, years after witnessing the death of the revered hero Maximus at the hands of his uncle, Lucius is forced to enter the Colosseum after his home is conquered by the tyrannical emperors who now lead Rome with an iron fist. With rage in his heart and the future of the empire at stake, Lucius must look to his past to find strength and honor to return the glory of Rome to its people. The film stars Paul Mescal, Denzel Washington, Pedro Pascal, Connie Nielsen, Joseph Quinn, and Fred Hechinger, amongst others. So, Luke, straight up, thoughts on Gladiator 2 is actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's just look straight at the camera and we'll let the gods decide if we're giving this a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or somewhere in the middle. So, thoughts on Gladiator 2? Should we both go? Oh, okay. We're on a similar.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you only listening and not watching, the pair of us gave it somewhat in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Do you want to go straight into the? We'll kick this one with your thoughts.
So, obviously, I was super excited going into it. The first one's amazing. So I don't know if my expectations were a little bit too high, and that's why I was a little bit analysing it maybe too much, or I had my expectations were too high. But I think it was great. I think my only issue, like I have my issues. I'll start with my issues first. I do think, like, obviously, like the plot is very, very similar. Some of the CGI is a little bit iffy in parts. Paul Mescal didn't get that much screen time like I wanted. I thought there was a little bit too much comedy. But then the epic scale of it was so grand. It was massive, a lot bigger scale. Ridley got to do what he wanted with like the rhinos and everything. And obviously, I love that part of it. So that's why I'm so mixed about it. And I do think it is something I'd have to rewatch to really, because I know what it's actually about, and I've seen it. Now I'll go in with a bit lower expectations, so I either might enjoy it or like it a bit less. I don't know. But yeah. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm like super mixed on this one.
Yeah. I feel going into it, I was apprehensively excited.
Yeah.
Apprehensive because Ridley's just not doing it for me recently. Yeah, just I really love The Last Duel. I think that's his best work of his most kind of recent films. But I feel like, Napoleon and just, a lot of his more recent works, I just feel like he doesn't really care that much about any of the characters. He's more interested in just getting to the next set piece and just shooting the film, which obviously this film as well, it was shot in like 51 days, something crazy that. And he had like 11 cameras with him. I think he sort of adopted the same kind of production style as Napoleon, where just like so many cameras and getting as much footage as possible and just going cut. But I feel like for Gladiator 2, for me, I think there are points at which the film is superb and really, really impressive, obviously from a production perspective. But I think overall the film kind of just falls a bit flat for me.
Yeah.
I don't think the film has quite enough depth. I think the character is a bit sort of all over the place and a bit messy. So that's kind of the general reason why I'm a bit mixed, which I'm happy to sort of get into.
Yeah.
But just to kind of talk positives about the film, what would you say was one of your favorite aspects about Gladiator 2?
The performances for every single character was spot on.
Yes.
There was no one where I could say, oh, there was a bit like that was a bit iffy or anything like that. I think everyone stood out. Like Joseph Quinn as the Emperor, I wish he was on it. I wish he was in it more. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Denzel Washington absolutely stole the show.
Let's talk about Denzel then, because I would agree with you. I think he is probably the best aspect of this film. I would say
100%. Like you can just see why he is, like, a lot of people call him the greatest actor ever.
Yeah.
And you can totally understand why. Just absolutely he's amazing.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think for him as well, he seems to be the actor out of all the cast in this film that's just kind of he's been given this role, but he's put his own sort of imprint on the character, built that character. The other actors for me feel like they were saying the lines that were written for him, whereas he really takes those lines, embraces it with all the kind of different inflections, and he gives it that added, kind of sauce essentially. Every time he's on screen, he just steals the scene. And I think his character for me was definitely one of the more interesting characters. But I must say, I absolutely I really hate sort of talking negatively about films, but I really hated the ending of his character.
Yeah.
I felt like, and obviously spoiler alert again, guys, I felt like for someone who was one of the smartest characters in the entire film, dude, why are you just going straight to a 1v1 against Paul Mescal? I was like, what? I literally couldn't believe that. Yeah. It seemed like a betrayal of his character, and I don't really know what happened there with the script or. But that was a real big disappointment for me. I don't know if anyone else kind of agrees with that, but I
totally thought the same. I thought to be honest, even though I think the third act of the film is the only thing what actually felt original about Gladiator II. I think felt like beat for beat was very similar to the original until the third act, and I feel like that's the third act is kind of where it fell flat a little bit, where it was like it all led up, obviously all the Rome's collapsing, everyone's going against the Emperor, and then it's you think there's got to be this big battle at the end, and then it's just we're just gonna watch Denzel and Paul have this discussion. They have this little tiny fight, and it's just obvious Paul would win that fight.
100%. I never thought Paul Mescal was his character. His name is Lucius. Well, the name he goes by is Hanno, but then obviously he's Lucius, son of Maximus and Connie Nelson's character. Yeah, I never once thought this was a situation. Compare it to something like Dune Part 2 when Paul Atreides fights Fade Rotha, right? Austin Butler. In that fight, you're on the edge of your seat, you don't know what's going to happen.
100%.
When these two faced off against each other at the end of the film, I was like, oh my god, is this actually happening?
You just knew he was going to win.
100%. And also, for me, there was this might have gone over my head, but there was no inkling to me that Denzel Washington, as this guy who was playing the gladiator game, who was buying and trading gladiators, and he calls that gladiator picking an art. That's one of his sort of big quotes. There was no inkling to me that he was someone who could potentially contest physically with them. He was always the mind behind the gladiators. But in the first film, Oliver Reed's character, it was the film made a point to say that he used to be a gladiator, so he understands the psyche of gladiators, potentially the combat. I think before, because obviously Oliver Reed died on the set of Gladiator 1, so they had to reshoot one of the big action scenes. But I think in the original script he was supposed to face off against Maximus in the arena. Never but what I'm trying to say is that would have made sense for the character. But here with Denzel's character, I was like, so you just grabbed a sword and now all of a sudden you can just sort of take on.
I know it was almost like his persona as well didn't match that ending.
Exactly.
He was this eccentric character, all about money and stuff, and outplaying people with his mind, intelligent. He was so intelligent, and then he's it just that ending just didn't suit the film.
Yeah, it really didn't. And that's a good point you make, because his major weapon is his mind, and to see him kind of climb the political ladder essentially. I appreciated the film definitely had more of an investment in the kind of politics behind Rome than the first film, to really kind of understand that world. And I thought he was the most interesting character out of everyone. What do you think of Paul Mescal?
Well, to be honest, I think he's a fantastic actor. I don't know if you watch Normal People.
I haven't yet, but I have seen his other stuff. But yeah.
Amazing. After Sun as well. He's fantastic in that, and I think he is he will be. I think one of the biggest actors when it coming up. Have you got Timothy Chalamet?
Yeah.
I think he will be that next person. But I just feel it was fantastic. Obviously he suited the role so well, but I felt like he just didn't get enough dialogue. Where you had Maximus, and it was just all about Maximus. That's how it should have been with that. I feel where he got to shine a little bit more. Where I feel like because of Denzel, that was lost.
I agree with what you're saying. I feel like correct me if you're wrong. What you're trying to say is he didn't really get a chance to become his own character. It was more just sort of. Maximus was this big figure. How can we kind of almost replicate that with Paul Mescal? I think one of the things that just didn't work for me with his character was I needed more, like you said, it's almost like the same kind of blueprint as the first film. He loses his wife.
Yeah.
and he's fueled by rage, revenge, essentially, to basically be a gladiator and eventually get to the Colosseum where he can really take down the people who are responsible for that. But I feel like we don't even see scenes of Maximus and his wife in the first film.
Yeah, but you felt so much emotion. Yeah. You can't help but cry when he's there and he's seen his wife and Carl have been burnt, and you're like, oh my God, it's devastating. Like, you can't believe it.
100%. Yeah.
And then this one, she's like, obviously his wife's like an archer, and like obviously Pedro goes all out of points at her, and then she gets shot, and it's just like, yeah, that's it.
Like, I needed to feel that rage. I get why. Sure, he's pissed and he's angry and stuff and whatnot. But I wanted a little more at the start between the two of them, and like that's what I mean. Like, my bigger gripe is I just don't think Ridley cares that much anymore. He's just way more interested in just kind of moving on to the next set piece, I feel. But I thought Paul was good for the most part, and he did what he could. That's the thing as well. Like, all these actors, I feel like
they did as much as they could.
They really put their heart on the line. Connie Nielsen is pretty much the heart of the film.
Yeah.
And she's really trying to, bring a sense of warmth and a humanity to this script, and she does what she can. But overall, I'm not sure. I feel like the characters were a little messy. What did you think of Pedro Pascal?
Again, like, same thing. Like, I think he did as much as he could. He was great. But like, even with these characters, I wish more. Either it would have been one way or the other. I wish he was either like, I feel like he should have been more of a villain than he actually was. Like, so at the beginning, you think, oh yeah, he's like this big. I can't think what you call him. Like, not so
antagonist.
What is it? Not like, what's his role in the?
He plays General Acacius. So he's like the general.
So he's like this general, and like he's winning all these wars. And then when he goes back, he's like kind of weak, really. Compared to the emperors, who themselves are kind of weak, really.
Yeah.
They've just got this role, and I don't know. And then obviously you find out that really he wants to overthrow, and then I feel like it's just a bit. I feel like the film, for some reason, even though it's like, I think it's 2 hours and 20 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
It felt very, very short. I feel like they should have carried out a lot more parts of the story.
Definitely.
Like you said about with Paul Mescal at the beginning, they should have carried out a little bit more of the relationship, maybe. And then like with Pedro, they should have showed maybe his backstory a little bit more and stuff like that. I just feel like,
yeah, I would agree. I think his character was just a little bit underbaked. Like, it just, there was a very passive character. Like, I didn't really know what his purpose that much in the film was to be. The one thing I will say I kind of appreciate was when eventually him and Paul Mescal face off against each other.
Yeah, I think that's the best part,
Oh, yeah, like, it's an emotionally sort of complex fight because you don't want, like, it's
you don't
not
want either of them to lose or like or win either.
Exactly.
Like,
I thought that was interesting. It kind of reminded me. I don't know if you've seen Troy.
No, I actually haven't. I've never seen Troy.
There's an incredible fight scene that takes place between Brad Pitt, who plays Achilles, and Eric Bana, who plays Hector, and you don't know who you want to win. Like, it's just one of those ones, which I think is really, really, I appreciated that for sure. And also you mentioned the emperors as well, Joseph Quinn and Fred Hechinger.
Yeah, I love both of them. I think they're both fantastic. Like Joseph Quinn, again, another person who I think is going to end up quite big. Obviously, he's got Fantastic Four coming out. Fred's fantastic as well. I think they're both brilliant. Brilliant. I like Fred's more like he was like the stupider brother of the two, and I like obviously the stuff with the monkey and stuff. But that was kind of like my issue with Gladiator 2, where I thought it was too comedic compared to the first one. Like, it's very like macho, emotional. Like the first one compared to the second one, it was very laughable moments.
Do you feel like tonally it was a little bit weird in some places?
It's like, for instance, I don't know if you remember the scene where there's a woman who's like, she's listening in on
oh my god,
and when she freaks out to
it's like one shot of this woman like, oh my god,
and it felt like I was watching a soap, like watching Coronation Street or Emmerdale, where it's like, oh, they was listening then, and everyone started laughing. I was like, that wasn't supposed to be funny.
100% agree. I'm so happy that you brought that up. That was like really, is that the best you could do?
When I seen that, I was like, they shouldn't have done that.
No, definitely. The score though, what were your thoughts on the score?
I feel like it maybe should have gone for a bit more originality. I thought like they lent on your love for the first one so much. Obviously, it's my favourite score ever, and I didn't have an issue with hearing it again, but I wish that they kind of made it its own film. My
thing with the score this time, is this one was composed by Harry Gregson Williams, who was originally part of the Hans Zimmer team. So he does a lot of the So he does a lot of the scores that Hans Zimmer probably he's like too busy to do. So like, for example, he did like Wonder Woman the film, and usually I think I quite like him. He did like the Chronicles of Narnia. There's got some impressive work in the past, but I just feel like like you said, he's almost following like he doesn't get a chance to create that much. I feel like a lot of the score in this one just was sort of these like kind of droning sounds, and every now and then when there's supposed to be some sort of serious theme, they just throw like a woman's singing and screaming and whatnot. And at the end, for a second, I was like, because I was a bit like so confused with the whole Denzel ending, and I was like, what the hell? And then they start playing Now We Are Free, and I was like, don't do that to me, please don't. But of course, that's an incredible track. And just side note, I've seen Hans Zimmer quite a few times live.
Yeah, I'm watching him next year in December.
Me too, man. I'll see you there. I'll see you. Yeah, of course, man. 100%. Anytime Hans Zimmer's in town, I'll be there.
Yeah, I've got front row to that. I can't wait.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. You're in for a real treat.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, like I was saying, like when they do Gladiator, Lisa Gerrard, who's the voice behind the first, like when she comes on and they do, you're gonna start floating, man.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Yeah. So another kind of, I don't want to keep banging on the negatives here, but I don't know if you realize this, but we did when we watched it last night. On a technical level, obviously it's incredibly impressive, and you have these vast, grand production designs. The film looks great in a lot of massive epic moments. A lot of the moments though, some of the actors are out of focus.
Yeah.
And I felt also some of the fight choreography, you could, like when they're swinging the blades, the swing is way above the head. Like it just seemed a bit sort of rusty, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, this shouldn't be happening on a production of this, on a film of this scale. Like if the actors aren't in focus and something, I was like, are you like, this is anyone else picking this up? But I just don't know what happened there. I just think, because 51 days to shoot this movie, and like obviously a lot of things have just gone under the radar.
I don't know if it was because obviously they had the strikes, didn't they? For a certain amount for it. I don't know if you know Dora. She does TikTok as well.
Yes.
She actually worked on the film.
I saw that last night. Yeah.
And,
that was incredible.
She's actually in the film as well.
Sick.
She's in the first battle scene, and there's the archers. She's actually one of the women archers.
So I saw her post that on TikTok. Dora, if you're listening, I saw her post that on TikTok, I think last night, and I was wondering whether she was potentially like the stunt double for Paul Mescal's wife falling off, because she was on like a ledge. And I was like, oh my god, like was she when she eventually dies? I was like, but that's really cool, man. I
remember they were telling me when she was working on it. I think it was filmed in Morocco. And she was saying that, and then she said one day that I think some of the actors got sent home, and they asked, does anyone know any stunts or anything? So that she ended up getting the role.
That's insane.
She messaged me when she watched it earlier before me.
And
she was like, I made the film.
That's incredible.
Because she's an armourer, so at the end as well, she was in the credits as well.
Incredible, man. That's awesome. And also it's quite, to be honest, I think it's quite inspiring for like just content creators in general, like people who do similar things to we do, that like people like that are actually making films and being a part of those kind of productions. This is incredible. It's just really, really cool. Overall, I think I'm sort of kind of mixed.
Yeah, what's funny, the more I talk about it, it's like when I was telling people, like people at work was asking me, because obviously I saw it earlier.
Right.
And I was talking about it, and like they was like, oh, it sounds bad. I'm like, no, I think I'm just thinking of the negatives too much. Like, it's not a bad film, it's just not very good compared to the first one. Like when people say it's just not comparable to the first film. No, I would agree. I would agree that I do prefer this massively over Napoleon, I think. 100% better than Napoleon. But I do think it is probably one of his weaker films. Like, for instance, I don't know if you like Alien Covenant or Prometheus.
See, I liked Alien Covenant. I think those films have issues, but I really appreciate the.
Goes for a lot for originality. Yes. I think it's very its own story. For instance, I don't know if you like Alien Romulus. I'm not a massive fan. I didn't really like it. I'm
gonna tell Cailee Spaeny.
I ended up giving it like a 2.5 star.
Oh wow, really?
I was very, very disappointed. But I think that is exactly I think it did the exact same formula. As Gladiator II, where it went too much to be like the original. And didn't make its own thing.
Sure.
Where like Ridley Scott really should have done that with like Covenant or Prometheus. I think he did a fantastic job carrying on that, obviously, his legacy type thing of the Alien franchise.
Like, just generally overall, what would you say? What would you give this film out of 10 if you had to say?
Out of 10, probably like either a 5 or a 6. I'd probably go for about a 6.
Okay, interesting. I would probably give it around this now. I think like a solid 6. I think at the end of the day, this is also kind of, I do just kind of like epics.
Yeah.
So I'll give it like some of the passes.
Getting like a historical epic. Like, I do think like more of them should be made.
100%. This is another big talking point, is the idea that, you know, these films just don't get made anymore.
Yeah.
So whenever one does come,
that's what I mean. I hope it performs like well, because obviously then more films will get green.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. But yeah, I think unless you have any other points on Gladiator 2,
no, not really.
Yeah,
again, they were just like my few little issues. It is probably something where I'd have to rewatch it to really understand. Do I really like this film? Sorry, this very, very good. What did you think of like the CGI monkeys and stuff? I know they're a bit on the. I thought the rhino looked fine.
The rhino was cool.
A lot of people had it. Like, I don't know if you saw all the stuff about. A historian came out and said it's the wrong rhino on it.
Yeah.
Like the sharks in the the Colosseum. Like, you have to take your wins and losses.
100%. But also, like, at this point, like, come on, if people are historically criticizing these films right now, like, clearly you've never seen a Ridley Scott film ever. I know. Like, he just has fun with it, doesn't he?
It's like the accents and stuff. Like, everyone's just talking in the normal accents.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But yeah, like. I think the worst part was when Pedro's coming in on the ship, you know, at the beginning.
Oh yeah,
and it's just, you can just tell it's like
very green screen.
Special effects, and green screen and stuff. I thought that looked like really weak, but the rest of it was alright. Again, like you said, the monkeys, was a bit much. I think all in all, I think for me the film fell just quite a bit flat for me. Will I watch it again? Potentially. Yeah. Who knows? I think you will, right? Yeah, I'll probably watch it again. But to be honest, I said the same about Alien Romulus, and that I'll have to watch it again and still not watch that.
Yeah. But yeah, let us know, guys, what you thought of the film down below in the comments section. We'll be really interested to hear what you have to say, because it does seem quite split amongst audiences. I've had a lot of people saying, you know, it's great, it's really great, and whatnot, and good, you know, good for you. Like, genuinely, if you like this film, or you enjoy this film, very, very happy for you. I did enjoy a lot of aspects of the film. I just think overall as a product, not quite there.
Definitely.
Now, I think, in classic popcorn podcast fashion, we're going to play some games. Yeah. You excited? Ready?
Yeah. Nervous? Yeah.
Yeah, let's just not do an Adam. Sorry, Adam. We love you, man. Yeah. Oh, gosh. So, game number 1, Luke. Since this episode is technically sort of movie epics themed, I'm going to just hit you with some sort of big movie epics, so medieval epics, historical epics, sci-fi epics, fantasy epics, and you're just going to say which of the 2 films you prefer. And we're going to roll up the list, basically. So, just for a start, look, we have Gladiator or Braveheart?
Gladiator.
Gladiator or Kingdom of Heaven?
Gladiator.
Gladiator or 300?
Gladiator.
Gladiator or Troy?
Gladiator.
Gladiator or Napoleon?
Gladiator.
Gladiator or Titanic?
Gladiator.
Gladiator or The Northman?
Gladiator.
Gladiator or The Last Samurai?
Gladiator.
Gladiator or The Last of the Mohicans?
Gladiator.
Gladiator or Hacksaw Ridge?
Gladiator.
I saw a little...
yeah, that's a close one, but yeah, Gladiator.
Gladiator or Saving Private Ryan?
Gladiator.
Okay, so I'm going to throw some sci-fi in there. So Gladiator or Avatar?
Gladiator.
Gladiator or Empire Strikes Back?
Gladiator.
Gladiator or Dune? Part 1. Oh, I got you.
I'll mix it up, Dune.
Okay, so Dune or Dune Part 2?
Dune Part 2.
Dune Part 2 or The Matrix?
Dune Part 2.
Dune Part 2 or Furiosa? Oh.
Do you know what? They've both been my 1 and 2 all year, and I've seen Furiosa more times, and I'm so mixed between which one I prefer more. I'll go Dune Part 2 still.
Okay. Dune Part 2 or Mad Max Fury Road?
Mad Max Fury Road.
Wow, okay. Mad Max Fury Road or Apocalypse Now?
Fury Road.
No,
sorry, Apocalypse Now.
Oh.
I can't believe I nearly missed that.
Okay. Apocalypse Now or Ran?
Oh, Ran.
Ran or Seven Samurai?
Ran.
Ran or Lawrence of Arabia?
I've not seen Lawrence of Arabia,
so
Ran.
My God, man,
it's one of the biggest films I've not seen. Ran.
Ran or Ben-Hur?
Ran.
And finally, Ran or The Lord of the Rings: Return of the King?
Return of the King.
Okay.
Easy.
Gotta save the best for last. But how's that?
Yeah, good.
Nice
good.
little warm up.
Yeah.
Cool. So moving on to game number 2. Once again, since the sort of theme of this episode is kind of movie epics, this game is all to do with movie epic runtimes. So Luke, you gotta guess the epic runtime of these epic movies.
Right.
And try and give it. So I'm gonna give you sort of plus or minus 5 minutes.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah, we've just got a few. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right,
okay. So, first up, you'll never believe it, Gladiator.
2 hours and 40 minutes.
I'm going to give it to you. It's 2 hours and 35 minutes.
Right,
okay, we're off to
right.
a strong start. Next up, we have Braveheart.
Braveheart's long. Does it touch the 3-hour region? I've got 2 hours 50.
Oh, very, very close. So that's 2 hours and 58 minutes.
Oh, I should have gone for
very,
3
very.
hours.
You know what? I'll give that to you. I'll give that to you. Dune Part 1.
That 2 hours 40.
Got it again. It's 2 hours and 35 minutes. Yeah, I'll give you plus or minus 5. Yeah. Dune Part 2.
I can't think if it's around about the same or a bit longer. 2 hours 45.
Oh, 2 hours 46 minutes. Yeah. Very, very good so far. The Lord of the Rings: Return of the King.
Do you know what?
You can give me either version.
Oh, right. Return of the King. Is it like something like 4 hours and 20 minutes, the extended one?
Oh my God, you are on fire, man. So the extended version is 4 hours and 23 minutes.
Yeah, I've actually never seen the original Lord
yeah,
of the Rings.
Yeah,
I've always seen
yeah. Because why would you, right? Yeah. But the original is 3 hours and 21 minutes, just around that mark. And finally, you haven't seen this, but if you want to hazard a guess, well, we'll go for it. Lawrence of Arabia.
It's about 3 hours and 23 minutes.
3 hours 47. But oh my goodness, you did very, very well. I don't know how that. I was like, have I shown you these before? I was like, very, very impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, wow, okay. So going on to game number 3. Guess the epic movie from the epic quote.
Right, okay.
Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quotes, and you just got to tell me what film you think it is.
Yeah.
And bonus point if you can also guess the character as well, if you
okay.
can. So first up, we have, even the smallest person can change the course of the future. Any ideas?
Even the smallest person. Nope.
No? No?
Napoleon, I'll guess. I don't know.
Is that because he's small?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know.
Well, thinking along the same lines.
Same lines. What, so Ridley Scott?
No. I mean, the character itself, potentially.
Oh, actually being small. Don't know. I'm going
Oh, okay. So that is, my friend, that's the Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh. That is so bad. Yeah.
These fellowship quotes always trip the ones up, man. Yeah, that's Galadriel in Fellowship of the Ring. Says that to Frodo. Even the smallest person can change the course of the future. Yeah. It creeps up on you, man. Yeah. Up next we have. Oh my God, Adam's gonna be cheering. Cheering at that one.
Not the other one. No.
Next up we have. I won't be fighting for him. I'm fighting for my people.
God, these are so bad. I don't know quotes. Not
Any
fighting
ideas?
for him. Fighting for my people. Oh, wait, is it? It's Gladiator, isn't it?
Not Gladiator.
I'm going to have to get a clue or something. I don't know. I'm so bad with quotes.
Clues. Interesting. It's a female character who says this in a very
epic,
quite recent film. So that is Chani, played by Zendaya in Dune Part 2.
That is so bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't believe it.
I'm telling you, when you sit on this couch...
Oh, yeah, I remember it. I literally remember the scene. So, yeah.
There you go. Yeah. When you sit... This couch is treacherous, man. Up next, we got What We Do in Life Echoes in Eternity.
Oh, my God. That is so bad. What we do in life echoes in eternity. Do you know what? I even can picture the quote because I see it so much on Twitter. What is it? It's not this year, is it? No.
That's there's no answer.
I'm trying to think of a Furiosa, but I don't think it is it? What echoes in life? It's so bad. Oh,
Shall I give it to you?
Yeah.
That's Gladiator.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because of the afterlife.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so bad.
Not at all. I'm telling you, this is everyone's worst.
Yeah, it's like I can tell you the runtime, but can't tell you the quote.
Exactly, man. Up next, to be honest, you haven't seen this, but I will just say the quote anyway. So this is truly, for some men, nothing is written unless they write it. So that's from Lawrence of Arabia. Yeah. But finally, the final epic quote is, "Then we will fight in the shade." Any ideas? No?
Then we will fight in the shade.
Any ideas? No?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that is from 300.
Oh.
So in the film, I think, so it's the Persian sort of general guy. He comes over and he says, our arrows will blot out the sun.
Yeah.
And then Michael Fassbender's character says, then we will fight in the shade.
Yeah, I've only ever seen 300 once. I know this is
sick quote, yeah. But yeah, there you go. How do you find that game?
Yeah, hard.
It trips you up, right?
Yeah, I can't believe I got some of them wrong. Embarrassing, but yeah.
So moving on to game number 4. We're moving away from the sort of epic themes and we're kind of just going to go into general kind of more sort of films. So you got to blind rank these 5 films.
Right,
okay. So technically there is no right answer, but I'm going to give you 5 films. I'm going to list them out for you, and you're going to go either 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So, the first film we have is The Lighthouse.
4.
Okay, okay. The next film we have is John Wick.
3.
Okay, you prefer John Wick over The Lighthouse?
Yeah, only just.
Okay.
Probably.
Up next we have Anyone But You.
No, I'll have to go 5.
Okay. Anora.
See, I don't know if you're going to give me something good for the last one, so I'm going to go 2.
You're going to go 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, drum roll for the last one. This last film we have, Luke, is Spirited Away.
Yeah. Easy.
There we go.
Yeah.
You bang on.
Yeah, perfect ranking for me.
That's great.
Yeah.
You redeemed yourself. You're coming back. Surely, for sure. And our final game of this episode, Luke, is a podcast classic here that we play all the time, and it is Guess the Film from the Cast.
Right, okay.
You ready? So I'm going to give you 3 actors.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me which film it is.
Yeah.
So the first set of actors we have is Margaret Qualley, who you got on your T-shirt.
Yeah.
Margaret Qualley, Russell Crowe.
Nice guys.
There we go. And Matt Bomer. Yeah, there you go. Up next we have Paul Rudd, Nina Dobrev, Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller. Paul Rudd. Trying to think of Ezra film. I'm trying to think if it's Perks of Being a Wallflower, but I don't think Paul Rudd's in that. Who's the other person?
Nina Dobrev.
I'll go. I don't know if she's in that either. I'll go for The Fundamentals of Curring.
You should have gone with your first guess, mate, because it was the Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Yeah, I couldn't remember Nina Dobrev being in
so
that.
So Nina Dobrev is Logan Lerman's sister, his older sister, and Paul Rudd is the teacher.
Yeah, I should have gone for that. I should have known with Ezra and Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Them too. Yeah.
There you go. Up next, we have Woody Harrelson, Morgan Freeman, and Mark Ruffalo.
Woody Harrelson. Who was the other person?
Woody Harrelson, Morgan Freeman, and Mark Ruffalo. Yeah.
Morgan Freeman. Woody Harrelson. Oh no, yeah. Now You See Me.
There you go. Yeah, you got there.
I can't think of Woody Harrelson being in it, but yeah.
Yeah. Up next we have Jared Leto, Willem Dafoe, and Reese Witherspoon.
Say it again, sorry.
Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
And Reese Witherspoon.
No, it's not that. Reese Witherspoon and Jared Leto. I'm thinking Urban Legend. It's not Urban Legends, is it? No. Reese Witherspoon, Jared Leto. Who was the other person? Sorry.
Willem Dafoe.
Don't know. Pass.
So that's American Psycho.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Should have got
they
that.
All play like those little cameo support.
Got so bad about it. I watched that last week.
No. Tell you, man, it's the couch. It's the couch.
Yeah.
And finally, Luke, our final cast is Blake Lively.
Yeah.
John Hamm. And Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner. John Hamm. Oh, no. Who was the first person?
Blake Lively.
Oh, John Hamm, Jeremy Renner. Thinking it's not Tag, is it? Tag? No.
It's not Tag.
Hurt Locker.
It's not Hurt Locker. So that is The Town. I don't know if you've seen The Town. Ben Affleck's. Yeah. There we go.
Oh yeah, I forget Blake Lively's in that.
Yeah, she's like in like a couple of scenes in that. No. Well, there you go. That is our fifth and final game, and that kind of wraps this episode. Thank you so much, Luke, for coming over and chatting Gladiator 2 and playing some games. How do you feel like that went?
Yeah, good.
Good. Have fun.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Well, it's been a pleasure chatting with you today. Yeah. And guys, Luke's socials will all be linked down below in the description box. So do go over and give him a follow if you're not already. He's doing some really, really great work over, specifically on TikTok, but just in general. And we'd love to get you back on at some point again. This fantastic conversation, and very, very impressed with some of those games. Some less so, but yeah. But yeah, guys, if you do have any thoughts on Gladiator 2, do be sure to leave them down below in the comment section. But for now, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and we will catch you very soon in the next episode of the Popcorn Podcast. Cheers.